Hello there, and welcome to Strictly Ball Business, episode 62. We are going to have a hell of an episode today as we make our predictions for the East All-Stars and the West All-Stars for starters and reserves. So an exciting episode for you as the All-Star game is only a couple months away. And we're going to dive into the Pelicans-Suns rivalry as well that seems to be developing. And after that, we'll play a game where we'll be guessing players that have played for multiple teams. And then we'll also talk about Cade Cunningham, who just got hurt. And, he's been hurt, but he just announced the team did, however, that he'll be out for the rest of this season. So the tank for Wembanyama is on, and we'll give you all you need to know about that. Lastly, who is contending for real? That is something we'll talk about, as there's a lot of phony baloney out there right now, but I think there's a lot of good teams that deserve to be recognized. And we'll see if maybe some more contenders will emerge later on, but, there's more to talk about on that end as well. So
this has been Strictly Ball Business.
Strictly Ball Business.
Strictly Ball Business.
I like that video.
Shit. We'll start out with the All-Stars. We're making our predictions here today. We are going to predict the East All-Stars and the West All-Stars. Let's start out on the East side with this video. We're predicting the starters. There are 3 forwards and 2 guards, correct?
Yep.
So with that in mind, who are your starters? Or who are your forwards, rather?
I feel like there's 4 possible forwards that could be in this. I have Joel, Giannis, and Tatum. I feel like a lot of people will exchange Tatum or Durant. They both having great seasons, but the other 2 I think are just locks for All-Star starters. What about you? Forwards. What are we talking?
Yeah, I went Durant, Tatum, and Giannis.
Durant, Tatum, and Giannis. So you didn't put Joel in there. Yeah, I guess Joel's missed a couple games. Maybe I just think I'm running off that 50-pointer. I do think he deserves as a center spot, but you could make it. I'm not going to complain with yours. You're right.
Yeah,
you're right. That's good. Tatum having an MVP tight season. I think he's the MVP front runner right now. Doing great. Giannis is Giannis. Durant is Durant. They're all doing what they normally do, which is always deserving of an All-Star starter. But yeah. I feel like this is kind of like, I think it's pretty clear, but I want to hear what your guards are.
I put Donovan Mitchell and Trae Young in these spots. Is that what you had?
Yeah, that's exactly what I had.
Yeah, it seems pretty obvious. Donovan Mitchell's having a great season. Cavs are top 4 in the East, and Trae Young's numbers are great too. He's had a couple of not as great games, but even Trae Young's bad games, it's just shooting inefficient, and he still gets over 20 games. So, he's always going to be an all-star game as long as he's putting up the numbers he has the last couple of years. So.
Yeah, I don't think there's a single point guard that has. There's maybe 2 other guards that have such as good offensive output as he does. Even though if he's not scoring, that doesn't mean their offense isn't flowing directly because of him, and that's a huge reason why. Especially not in the East. The other 2 players are Luka and Curry that I'm talking about, where just them being on the floor affects the offense and makes it better. So
yeah, there's tons of great guards in both leagues. I would say West is stronger there, so I think Donovan Mitchell and Trae Young benefit a little bit from being in the East, but they're still great players. So,
yeah, definitely. Do you see? I think it's pretty clear who the guards are. I don't think, unlike the forwards where we exchanged Joel and Durant, and that's pretty much it. I don't think there's much exchangeability, really, for argument's sake, for the guards here on the East starters. Maybe, because there's also team success. It's voted in too, so maybe Jaylen Brown can get in there. He's having a great season, which I'll highlight later. The guy's been great, but that's the only exchangeable I see. Do you see any other guards that could maybe sneak into a starting spot?
Not really. I think Darius Garland, he missed a few games, came back. He's been playing really good, but still, I think is a step below those other guys. Tyrese Halliburton's been having a great season too, but not good enough to be a starter in the game. Maybe good enough to make it in on a vote or a replacement level, but yeah, I'm not really seeing anybody else that could really jump them in terms of guards. Like, DeMar DeRozan is having a great season again. I don't think he deserves to start this year, but certainly deserves to get a nod, possibly.
Yeah, they changed the format, right? So voting's only a fraction of what's going on now. Because Andrew Wiggins got voted as a starter last year, so they knew they had to change it. So it's possible. I think that the fact that they changed it hurts guys like Tyrese Halliburton and De'Aaron Fox and like guys like Bradley Beal more, because it's going to lean more into like wins and success rather than just single numbers. Whereas last year I would probably have DeMar DeRozan in there, but because the Bulls aren't even in the play-in tournament right now, as we're making this video, that's not going to get him into the starting, not with a record like that.
Yeah, no, I think the starters are pretty locked up. So I don't really see that switching, but there's still plenty of time. Somebody could get hurt, but hopefully that doesn't happen. But that could certainly change things too.
There's always one or two that get hurt and they get all-star nods, and we always appreciate it. There's a lot of guys out there that could be an all-star, but what do you guys think? Who are your East starters? I want to hear it. Comment that below. Let's move on to the bench. This is where it's very the East more so than the West, where I think we got to see how it goes. The West does have some front-loaded stars, whereas this is more back-loaded, where I think there's a lot of arguments for guys, and I'm very curious. Let's hear your bench. Who you got?
My bench. How many spaces do you give me first?
Seven spaces.
7 spaces. So I've got Jaylen Brown in there for sure. I'm giving Tyrese Halliburton a spot and DeMar DeRozan one as well. Outside of that, I think I would give one to Porzingis at this point. Maybe a hot take, but I'm putting him in there. And I'm also going to give a spot to,
Joel.
I already said, Joel Embiid, obviously. Oh,
yep.
Geez, so silly. Joel Embiid, obviously. I think Joel Embiid's the leading scorer in the league. I probably should have him as a starter. I guess he's just, I don't know.
No, I didn't complain. I get it. He's also missed a bunch of games. He has missed some games this season.
You could argue. Yeah, you could argue DeJounte Murray could be an all-star. You could argue. I think I would give a spot to Julius Randle, so I'm gonna give him that one. So big bounce back year for him so far. I think that gives me about 7. I don't know. There's some that I'm just maybe on that I'm just not definitively giving one. Like Bam Adebayo's having a pretty good season again, but had some off games.
Let me jump into my bench. Maybe you can solidify your bench by the time, because I'll mention some honorable mentions that are good too. So I have Durant, as you had him in your starting. Durant. I also gave a nod to Tyrese, having a great season. He's the leading NBA in assists, and he's scoring 20 points per game. I think you can't. And the Pacers are off to some early success. DeMar DeRozan, having a great season individually. The Bulls are struggling, deserve it so. Celtics deserve 2 All-Stars. Jaylen Brown, having the best statistical year he's ever had so far. I gave it to Bam. I think Bam's having the best offensive year he's ever had, and I think he's still holding it down on defense. The Heat struggles, I don't think, are because of him. I think he's the bright spot. I think there's other people struggling. You gave your I still give the Wizards all-star nod to Bradley Beal. I don't give it to Porzingis. Porzingis is having a great season. I still think Bradley Beal beats him out on that team if you're going to give an all-star nod to him. And then for my last guy, I have Pascal Siakam, who's having a great season. Raptors are doing well. I think he's deserving of that spot. My honorable mentions are Jimmy Butler. You always got to mention him because he's a great defensive player. He's scoring well. He just can't stay on the floor so far. Darius Garland, same reason. I don't think the Cavs could probably be deserved. So I wouldn't be surprised if he got voted in. Because he's great, but he's missed some time obviously as well. Julius Randle's an honorable mention I have. You said it, playing great. DeJounte Murray playing great. Honorable mention. Kyrie's also an honorable mention. I don't have him in here because I don't think the Nets. The 4th seed is great and all, but I don't think the way they've played has said that they get 2 All-Stars. And then lastly, my honorable mention is Paolo Banchero. I think he's. I know I don't think he'll get a spot, but he certainly has All-Star numbers, and I don't think anybody. If you were just going off stats, I think people would definitely look at it and call him an All-Star, even though it's his first season.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, he's definitely having a great start to his career, and I'm excited to see where he goes from here. I think you'll probably see some guys make it in from other guys sitting out, so maybe he gets a chance. Who knows?
Yeah. So, who's your bench now that we've said it all? I think you had 6 guys before because you had Joel. Yeah, go ahead.
So I'll go my bench: Joel Embiid, Halliburton, Jaylen Brown, DeMar DeRozan. I said Darius Garland, Kristaps Porzingis, and Julius Randle.
Okay, cool. So Pascal Siakam doesn't get in there for you?
Nope, he's out.
No. Does Julius play? Julius is better than that. I think
Julius gets it over him.
I think Julius. Actually, I think his stat, but that's all right. I mean, like, I think
you want to debate it.
Yeah, I mean,
obviously Pascal's a better player overall. Like, if you're asking me who I'd rather have, but for who rather deserves the All-Star, I'll give it to Randall, who's leading his team in scoring. He's bounced back this year. I mean, Pascal looks great too, but he's missed a lot more games.
Yeah,
Randall's right up there for most games played in the league.
Yeah, I mean that would be it. I see that argument. I mean, Pascal did miss a couple weeks. He's been. I think his individual stats are better than Julius Randle's. I think I believe the Raptors have a better record than the Knicks. But he hasn't been on the floor. Julius Randle being healthy is a huge thing, especially in today's NBA. And if you're up there with minutes per game, I do think that is commendable. Good job, Julius. Good for you.
You're always going to be high in that ranking if you play for Tom Thibodeau.
Sure. Yeah. You're right. Why Porzingis over Bradley Beal?
I mean, I think Porzingis has had a bounce back year and he's scoring is up. I think he deserves the recognition. Bradley Beal, I mean, he's not even scoring more than Porzingis, is he?
Great question. I'll run the numbers.
And I mean, Porzingis could do a lot more on defense a lot of nights, but I think he's been one of the better players they've been able to bring in the last few years. So, yeah.
Bradley Beal is by 0.3. He's scoring more points. Bradley is more efficient as he's 50. Yeah, he beats him out in efficiency and all across the board. But Porzingis, per the numbers, Porzingis is playing better defense than Bradley Beal.
Right. I mean, I don't think it's hard to play better defense than Bradley Beal either.
No.
But
no.
Porzingis was looking pretty bad the last couple of years, so he's at least improved it a little bit. But Beal's also missed I think 10 games this year.
Yeah, he's played 9 less games than Porzingis. So I see you. I see you there. Why do you think the last on the East bench is why do you think the Hawks deserve 2 All-Stars with Trey and DeJounte?
I didn't say DeJounte.
Oh, did you? I thought you did.
No.
You have Joel, Julius, Porzingis, DeMar, Halliburton, Brown. Oh, and you had Garland. Yeah. All right. Yeah. That makes sense. But what do you guys have for the bench? Comment that below. Let's move on to the West All-Stars. I want to hear who you got starting. Just read off all 5 to me. Let's see how they sound. I got
Luka Doncic. I've got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Zion Williamson, Nikola Jokic and Anthony Davis.
Oh, wow. We have the very same, except for I have Steph Curry in there for SGA. I think there's no way Steph Curry's, if we're talking about probability,
right.
there's no way he's not making it. He's going to be the captain.
You're probably right.
Everything else I agree with. I think Anthony Davis, what a turnaround season. This guy's finally looking back to form while he's on the floor. There's never been a doubt if he can stay on the floor, he'll be good. It's just a question whether he can stay on the floor. Jokic, nothing said there. Zion, great season. I think this is the year where, because he's taking LeBron's spot effectively, and I think it's deserved. So I think if anyone on the Lakers is going to get a starting spot, it should be Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
We'll see how much voting the weight it has, because I feel like that's going to play a big hit, whether it'll be Davis or LeBron James. The Lakers are only going to have one starter. They should only have one starter. Record-wise, they should have a starter, but we'll see.
Still, I mean, Davis's numbers are great, and who's going to start over him?
Right. And it's interesting you have SGA in there. I do think, I think there's a lot of people. There's going to be people that think shouldn't be an all-star because their record isn't the best, but he's averaging 30 a game. I think there's no doubt he deserves an all-star spot. I think he had an argument last year. This guy's just a great guy. He's a great player all around, doing well. The Thunder, they're a young team. They're struggling. We've talked about that. Maybe they're ready for the playoffs. Maybe they go out and get some vets. But no doubt, no question on Luka's end. Luka's great. He's second in MVP voting right now, I think. I mean, the guy's great. He's a one-man offense. He has less tools than Trae Young does, but that's why they're struggling. But hey, Trae Young's struggling too. The Hawks are. So it's great to see. It's great to see, and just proud for Zion. Proud for Zion, man. That's great. Good for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's been fun to watch, and he just continues to punish people, make grown men look like boys. So, gonna continue to see that in the All-Star game, I hope.
Yeah. Are there any forwards or guards aside from Steph Curry that you think would be exchangeable here? Do you see anyone else winning a slot over anyone else here?
I mean, I think both Devin Booker and John Morant are good enough to start. They just happen to be going up against a couple of great guards.
All-time great, yeah.
Yeah, but those would be the two that I would look at. I mean, LeBron, I think you could argue he could be a starter, but not with the fact that you have Anthony Davis. So if you're going to have Anthony Davis start, you can't have LeBron also start.
Yeah. I do think there's a chance, depending upon how waiting does, LeBron will get in there for Zion.
There's a chance it happens.
Yeah.
But Zion's super popular too.
He is. So, not as popular as
generation
LeBron.
Will probably like Zion more than if you had to put up a poll in front of anyone 18 or younger, and you say, "Hey, who do you like more, LeBron or Zion?" Like, do you think most of them would say Zion, or do you think most of them would say LeBron?
I think most of them would say LeBron. If it's what would you say, 18 or lower, 18 or younger? Yeah. I think you could even say, well, who's your favorite player in the NBA, and I think Zion will get more votes than LeBron for 18 and younger. 18 and younger. I think people are gonna say, "Oh yeah, Zion all the way," because I think we're out of where they've seen. We haven't, like, kids that are watching the NBA today haven't seen LeBron in the playoffs. As that's like kind of my favorite thing about him, is watching that unstoppable force. But
you just said earlier you thought they would recognize LeBron more, or say that he would win.
I think they're gonna. No, that's for 18 and younger. I said.
Yeah. Right.
No, you said 18 and younger. I think overall, people are gonna vote LeBron in. Might vote LeBron more. It's just I want to see how. I think he's gonna be third in voting. I think he's gonna have the third most votes for the West. I think it'll be Steph Curry, and then it's gonna be Luka, and then it's gonna be LeBron. But it depends how much voting matters in this new form. They'll probably announce in January, right? They'll probably announce the odds and everything in January. So we'll see. We'll talk about that then too. But we're. I'll give you a chance. You want to take SGA back, or you want to put Steph Curry in, or you sticking? You stick with SGA?
No, we're gonna stick with it. Let's move on.
Yep. Go ahead.
Did you do your starters yet? Did you
Yeah,
get some of your West starters?
I said that.
Or you same one? Yeah, that's right. You're right.
Exact
We already
same with
talked
Steph Curry instead of SGA.
That's right. That's right. Okay, so who are your bench?
Who are my bench? Yeah, I'll raffle them. This was a little tougher because the West is very heavy with guards that could be all stars. However, yeah, I could probably, if it was just skill alone, I could just fill it with guards, honestly. But let me start off. SGA, we got LeBron, we got Ja, we got Booker. All locks for all-star. I don't care who you are. They're all going to get all-stars. But then I got Damian Lillard. He's having a great season, leading the Portland Trailblazers to a great record. I do think the Pelicans deserve 2 all-stars. So I have Brandon Ingram in there. Also, there's not many that better forwards than him in there, and they do need more forwards. And I have Sabonis as the king that's in there. De'Aaron Fox has kind of fallen off. He had a hot start, but the one that's been sticking there is Sabonis. He's a big. I think he's going to get in there as an all-star. I will mention some of my honorable mentions. And I tried to find any excuse to fit Anthony Edwards in there. I just couldn't put him over Damian Lillard because it came down to that. And he'll get there sometime. I know he'll get there. De'Aaron Fox is also an honorable mention. Rudy Gobert, he could make it. I can see him making it over Sabonis. I think there's a very good chance that he does. I mentioned Lauri Markkanen and Jalen Green. I mean, their records are down, but they've been playing great this season. And finally, Paul George. And obviously, Kawhi Leonard has not played many games, so he probably won't make another All-Star game for the rest of his career because he's not going to play any games ever. But Paul George, because of games, he's playing great. But if he would have played more games, he would have deserved a spot.
Sure. My bench, I got Curry, LeBron, Booker, Morant, Laurie, Lillard, and Edwards.
So you exchanged them for which Edwards is playing small forward, so he could get in there over BI. So you have him over BI and Sabonis. Yeah. You have Laurie over Sabonis.
Yeah, I mean, I had Sabonis in here too, and then I decided to go Laurie instead. I think I could see it going either way, though. I mean, it probably would more likely Sabonis, but you never know either. I think you could kind of flip a coin on that one. Everyone else, I'm pretty certain of, except for, I mean, Edwards, I think needs to turn it up more. Otherwise, I could certainly see Ingram being in over him, or someone else even.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Laurie's certainly having an all-star season. If they would have kept it up through November, which they didn't. Obviously, they've slipped. They've fell off real hard. If they would have kept it up, I would say there's more of an argument. I don't think he's going to make an all-star game. I think it would be cool if he did. He would. I think he's still first in the running for most improved, but I don't see him getting it over Brandon Ingram or Sabonis.
Paul George could get in too.
Paul George could get in, yeah, definitely.
I mean, he's played enough games, and he's averaging about 24.
Yeah, for sure. I do think. See, this is the West where it comes into this conundrum where the best, those 7 players that we mentioned. I don't think they're the 7 best all-stars for that bench. If it was positionless, I would have Anthony Edwards and De'Aaron Fox in there for Sabonis and Brandon Ingram. However, I do think they're going to fall. They're going to need some more big men, and that's the way it's going to fall. Or they might just agree them in because of the draft. They might just be like, whatever. Maybe there's more big men that deserve it on the East side because it's a draft. That doesn't mean that this team's West is facing the East anymore. So maybe they don't give a shit about that. I think
they still elect them East versus West. Then they draft after they have their pool.
Well, yeah, I'm saying they might not care about electing big men because they think it's going to even out by way of the draft. I think the elections are going to be a little different, but they're probably going to stick with traditional elections. I hope Anthony Edwards gets in there over BI. I'm not sure he will though. I would love it. I've been wanting this guy to be an all-star for a while now, but
yeah.
Great selections. Is there any guy that we just didn't mention you think might get in there? Like, I don't think there's a chance Chris Paul gets in there, or Klay Thompson, or Draymond Green. Maybe. I mean, Spencer Dinwiddie's always someone to talk about.
I think Anthony Simons is an interesting one, kind of under the radar. He's averaging about 24 points a game, and I mean, his 3-point shots at 39% on 10 of them a game. Like, I think like that's a guy worth considering. Like, he could make the game fun. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I would see that. I think if Damian Lillard somehow steals a starting spot, which it's always possible. It's Dame time. The guy's averaging close to 30. I think if he gets a starting spot, then it increases the chances Anthony gets in as all-star. And who knows? Some of these guys one of these guys might get injured. I mean, Ja Morant could get injured tomorrow. It's not inconceivable. and then they're gonna instantly have to find a spot. So we'll see. Who are your guys' West bench? I want to hear it. Say it below. We'll talk about it. Let's move on to some of our more busier topics. Cade Cunningham, as you mentioned earlier, the guy's been out since November. Just came out as an injury. He's going to undergo season-ending injury on his left shin, which was hurt in early November. And he's going to miss the rest of the season. I want to know, how do you think this affects their roster? Do you think this is? Do you think they wanted this to happen? I mean, not wanted, but you think the front office is like, welcome, Victor, welcome. Or
I mean, I don't think there's any. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, or do you think it offsets any plans they had for this season? Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think it messes up a little bit of plans because they traded for Bogdanovich, and I think they wanted to win some games, but then he got hurt, and I think ultimately they're gonna go with the doctor's advice, get the surgery, and rest him. It's not like they're resting him extra than they need to. Like, there's no malpractice going on there, so it is what it is. I think they're going to be excited to have a chance at Wembanyama nonetheless, so it's fine. And hopefully you get a chance to see some of these other guys develop a little bit. But I do think Pistons are a little upset, too, that overall Cade's not going to get on the floor because this is a year lost of development for him. So it's not like they want him to be hurt. Like, that's a big loss. I mean, this is his second year. And now you're going to go a whole year without professional basketball being played now. You're going to have to take a while to get ramped up next year. Then it really pushes back the competition window for the Pistons overall another year or two, as you don't know what you got. But on the bright side, this does give Killian Hayes another opportunity to grow this year, show himself being worth something to this team, which he has done that a little bit lately. So maybe he'll keep that up. Maybe they'll see something on Marvin Bagley where he'll keep improving. But yeah, I mean, overall, obviously the biggest win here is the opportunity to get Victor.
Yeah, no, that's the biggest win. You said it, all occasions. Yeah, it's a little bummer Cade gets to sit out. I mean, guy was averaging 20 points per game, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, almost a steal, a half a block. Guy was high in turnovers. I mean, his field goal started to get better. He's still sitting around 41%. It's his 3-point that we really wanted to see him get that up. He's sitting at 20. He was sitting at 28%, 83 from free throws. So we know that'll turn around. So we really wanted to see his personal offensive game. I think he can run the offense. Well, that would have been nice to see, but now that's delayed in a year. Like, the guy, unlike some of these guys who were like, oh yeah, they're ready to compete. He still has a long way to come. We like where he's seen. Ivy, I think this is a great opportunity for Ivy, just like you said. Gets the chance to run the offense. He gets to get into his NBA rhythm because he's still struggling a bit. I mean, not the worst efficiency for a guard rookie with 40, 30, 72. That's not the worst if you look at a rookie's lineup, especially with the volume he's producing at 15 points per game. But I can't wait to see more of him. I mean, his assists are obviously going to go up. He's going to get more chances to play and make. Still a -6 on the box score, which is tough. But Killian Hayes, I think this is the biggest. He's out there. I think he's giggling. I mean, sure, his teammate went down. He's a little happy, but I think he's a little glad. Next year is his contract year. This is going to be a huge year for him. He plays a lot of minutes. This guy, we talked about him earlier in a different video how he's kind of having a resurgence. But I think he's got to turn something around and show that he can play comparable offense and efficient offense that he's created for himself for the rest of the year, because I don't think the Pistons are going to give him a big contract. I don't think the game he's playing right now, and I don't think he's trying to impress the Pistons. I think he's trying to impress other teams, that maybe this is a guy worth tossing a contract out to, because there's a lot of teams out there that would like a point guard. Kevin Porter Jr. has been playing well this year, but maybe they're like, you know what, let's go out and get they think Killian Hayes will be cheaper. It reminds me a lot of Frank Ntilikina, so I really hope he doesn't fall into his fellow Frenchman, young Frenchman roles, where he's just known for, oh yeah, he's pretty good at defense, but that's it, but he doesn't get drafted on anything else. So I think this is his chance to change the narrative, and I really hope he does, because we like him. We're liking to see all the improvement he has.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a chance, so we'll see where that goes. But I want to hear your thoughts on a couple fan bases that are angry at each other. A couple teams that are mad at each other. And I think one team in particular, the whole NBA fandom has turned against, and that's the Phoenix Suns, right? Everybody, I think, considers the Suns to be the most hated team in the league now. They whine about everything. Even DeAndre Ayton said today they lost to whoever they just played. I don't remember. I think maybe the Clippers or something. But he said, when we're on tape, this isn't the same sort of teams that we saw on tape. Like, they're playing harder than what we saw on the tape. So, it's no wonder that we lost, because, gosh, they're playing so much harder than we could have possibly expected. It's like, well, what are you talking about? And then he was describing things. He's like, oh, they were like getting behind us, getting rebounds. They were hitting shots. It's like, you're just talking about playing basketball, DeAndre.
That's basically, that's it. You said it, yeah. Keep going though. Sorry, my bad. I was just laughing.
No, I was done. I think, I don't know what else I need from you. I just need you to tell me, Sir Dalton. I need you to tell me why it is the Suns are so unlikable, why it is the Pelicans are so likable. They're complete polar opposites. Everybody's rooting for the Pelicans. Will it switch?
I don't think so.
Are people going to hate the Pelicans eventually?
I don't think so. I think a part of it is, I think we've talked about it. I think DeAndre doesn't want to be a Sun anymore. He's being a professional. He's playing well. I'm not saying anything. I don't think he's part of it. I think it kind of hurt the team, especially with the Jay Crowder. What's going on with Jay Crowder? They lost a lot of pieces. And especially the biggest factor is, ever since Kanye tweeted, they have been 1-6. 1-6 since the Kanye tweets. Chris Paul, man, what's going on? No, it's the Kardashian curse. I think
in there.
It happens. I think Devin Booker's like, hey man, you too, Chris.
Like, hey.
I thought better.
It must have been how Chris Paul met her.
yeah.
I don't know, man. The Pelicans are so much more fun. It was hilarious the other day when Zion 360 dunked on them right after. It was immediately after Chris Paul tried making a layup. They were down by 11 points with like 9 seconds to go. So then Chris Paul, of all people, got mad at Zion for ducking it. Like, get out of here. And Cameron Payne, like, shut up.
Yeah, Chris Paul's a very prideful guy. I like when he plays basketball. Unfortunately, it's not often anymore, as you see it. Like, the guy's out there making calls. Sure, the guy thinks there's a ref that's out to get him. And that's me in Call of Duty, and I'm not a professional at anything. So, like,
yeah, but CP3 is also, he's constantly flopping and then getting mad at the refs. Like, I'm sorry, dude, but you've been doing this for years, and they're just now, loosening the belt a little bit. Like, oh, you don't get that special treatment anymore. Yeah, you should have never been getting it. Like, nope. We don't even know who the real Chris Paul is, like how good he actually is at basketball, because all he's done is this whole chunky shit for years.
No, yeah, exactly. And as you probably expected, I have a graphic, and I broke down the numbers just to look at how these teams are doing. I just wanted to talk about Kanye, too. So I'll post it over here. Yeah.
You got the Kanye stats ready, 1-6.
Yeah, 1-6. I had to toss that out there. 7 games in 12 days. So the Suns and the Pelicans head to head. Pelicans are a faster team. They score more points. However, their offense is better. They're the fifth best offense in the league, whereas the Suns are the second best offense. So the Suns are slower. It's because they have DeAndre Ayton, as Valanciunas is kind of pulled out of their offense more now that Zion and BI and CJ are there. They're running, their pace is better. But the Pelicans are third in defense. They're the third best defense in the league. Whereas the Suns, they lost guys like, I do think they lost some of that intensity with DeAndre Ayton. Obviously, they lost Jay Crowder. And it shows. I mean, they're 12th in defense right now. And I think that was a huge part of their identity. I mean, Devin Booker will always be there for their offense. But it's tough. And honestly, the Pelicans aren't even that behind with offensive rating, especially this early in the season. They can definitely pass the Suns. Fifth and second are not too far apart at this point in the season. It's not a huge gap, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, this is a young team that can make stops and get out and transition quickly and make those buckets easily. And they've got a great defender they drafted in Herb Jones that helps them out. Jonas Valanciunas has been a better defender than I thought he'd be. You know, normally he wasn't. That's why Toronto got rid of him ultimately. But he's only gotten better since he left Toronto. So that's been cool to see. And I mean, I think Zion's a hard guy to get around anyways. Like, even if he's not like the fastest dude, he's still like a wall. So he's just naturally going to be a decent defender over his career just because of how big he is.
Yeah, and definitely. And the Pelicans have all got across the board. Everyone's improving. Alvarado is getting better. Trey Murphy, we talked about, is getting better. Herb is getting better. CJ's he's getting a little worse, but he can afford that because everyone else around him is getting better, and he is contributing to their betterment. I mean, he's a great vet to have. Him and Valanciunas are leading this team as vets. With BI's being BI, he's doing well. Whereas the rule in the NBA is if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. Yeah. And they lost Jay Crowder. They lost emotionally. They lost DeAndre Ayton, and I can't point to anybody on that team that is improving this year right now. I mean, Mikal Bridges is doing better, but I don't think it's marginally enough for this team to continue what they were doing. I think the team really stands out when Cam Johnson has a big game because that's the guy who, if he improves this year, becomes a star, maybe not a star, but a really good player, then the team can stay really good. That's kind of what they need. But he's not consistent enough. He has had a couple games in the 20 points. He's had at least one 30-pointer. So I know he's got it in him. He can shoot pretty well. The consistency's just not there yet. Yeah, and Campaign, that's a great example because he's always been such an infectious player. Like he's a hype guy. He's always been a glue guy. He was a glue guy with.
When I say Campaign, I meant Cam Johnson. If I didn't.
Oh, you said Campaign, yeah. Well, Cam Johnson too. Yeah, Cam Johnson. They're expecting a lot out of him. He's always been a good offensive player. He's a knockdown shooter. However, the more minutes he plays, the less defense they have on the floor, and they don't have that flexibility because as you can look at, it's a perfect example. If you look at like the box score, you could look at Jay Crowder and you can think he doesn't do much, but he's always a vet in all their ears. Just he's there. He's a coach's player, just like Pat Bev is or CP3 is when he's not having a thing.
Yeah. Has he still not played Jay Crowder? Is he still like just sitting on the bench? I don't get it. Like
he's very offended apparently that they try. I'm sure there's more behind it, but
no
surface
one is
level.
Gonna start him.
No, and he's offended that he's not starting and that he was in a trade talks, and he's like because he signed with that team with like the best hope and everything. He's like nobody signs with the Phoenix Suns, etc. Listen, I'm like whatever, Jay, just go to the Timberwolves already. All right, just figure it out. No, they're waiting for a good trade, I'm sure, to have him in there. But yeah. I mean, I hope it turns into a rivalry because I do think the Suns might struggle. I think they can turn it around. I think they'll still be a good team for a couple of years. I don't think they're close to blowing it up. I think if they do trade DeAndre Ayton, I think it'll be for asset. I don't think it'll be for picks.
I mean, ultimately, they've got Devin Booker on this team, and they're not going to be getting rid of him anytime soon. So you've got to keep as much talent around him as you can. DeAndre Ayton is great. I don't know if he can find this better, but they'll try. They'll certainly try. Keep kicking that can down the road.
I don't think they'll find a better center. I think the best replacement, I think they're going to look for the Pacers and get like a guy like Miles Turner, who's playing great right now. But I think I voted DeAndre as a top 5 center in this league when we did our rankings earlier this season.
I think he is. And he's been playing like one this year too. Like he's been great in a lot of games, but I don't know. I mean, ultimately, I think they just need a change there. It's not really working chemistry wise, so it is what it is. But hey, man, let's move on. Let's get to another topic here before we finish things up. Tell me, who is contending for real? Are they contenders or pretenders? I will list off who I feel are my contenders. I think there are 6 teams that can win the championship at this moment, and I'll see if you agree. So first of all, Celtics, are they a contender?
Yep. Yeah, they 100%.
Bucks?
100%. Yep.
Grizzlies. Oh, that one makes you nervous.
I don't think so. I don't think they're contenders.
They're a pretender, he says. Why are they a pretender?
Yeah, we were seeing a lot, especially a great season out of Jaren Jackson Jr. Injuries with Desmond Bane, and he's been out. So, but John Morant, I think he's a superstar that can drive it. There's a feeling when they're on the floor. You can see them, and you're like, where they're capable of getting over it. And I can see that they're a great regular season team. I haven't seen something in the playoffs that show me I'm scared of these guys. I still think if I take the Mavs today and their record, which is much worse than the Grizzlies, and I put them in the playoffs, I would still take the Mavericks over the Grizzlies. Mm-hmm. And that's why I don't think they're contenders, because I can see so many other teams beating them.
I don't think I would take the Mavericks over the Grizzlies right now. I mean, I think that's just kind of crazy to say. I think last year, yeah. But I mean, I would take Luka over any player on the Grizzlies, sure. But it's not just Luka versus the Grizzlies. Unfortunately, this Mavericks team does not look as good as they were last year.
Yeah.
I'm gonna list off another one here. The number 1 seed in the West right now, the Pelicans. Are they a contender?
Yeah, they are.
I mean, they gotta be, right? Number 1 seed.
Yeah.
My last 2, I think, are gonna be controversial. I don't know if you're gonna agree with them being contenders. I got the Nuggets as a contender. What do you think?
Not this year.
Not this year. Don't like what you're seeing.
I just think it's too soon for them to be labeled as contenders. I mean, sure, we can label it as contenders, but I don't think they'll win a championship. I think they can certainly contend. So maybe I spoke too soon, but I still don't. I think there's no chance they'll win a finals this year. Next year, yes. I think they're too close to so many injuries for their roster, for major players on their roster. It's been done before. They can prove me wrong. I just think there's 5 other teams at least that are better, that have better chances.
All right. Well, my last contender that I have listed, they're 8-2 in their last 10 games. They've improved the defense a lot over the course of the season. They had a head coaching change that was controversial. The Brooklyn Nets I have as a contender. Do you agree?
They are. Yeah, I agree.
All right.
Yeah, they're definitely contenders. Yeah, I mean, let's talk about the Nets. Kevin Durant, always an MVP candidate. Always he means business. He's here. He's strictly ball business. But I mean, yeah, 8-2 in the last 10. They're sitting at the 4th seed. I don't see any reason for them to get worse unless a minor injury. I mean, Simmons can only get better from where he's at right now. And if they're winning games with him averaging 5 points per game in the last 10, yeah, sure. I see that I think they could certainly get better. They're using Ben. One thing I think is interesting is they're using him as a small ball center in rotations. And I think that's really cool. I think that's working out for them. That way they can have Royce O'Neal and Seth on the floor too at the same time. And I think it's working for them.
Yeah, because they just have a plethora of forwards here between Durant, Simmons, Royce O'Neal is a great defender, and then TJ Warren's a pretty solid scorer too.
Yep.
And Joe Harris has turned it around as a defender lately out of nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the surprising part for him. And I always liked TJ Warren. I think he's a great offense to have. And him coming back is also another reason. I mean, they're getting all that extra offense from him that they're not getting from Ben, from TJ Warren. And obviously Seth is always going to do Seth. He's going to be great. So yeah, they're definitely contenders. One team that I think they're at the bottom of my list for contenders, but I think they're always going to be contenders while they're together and in the league, and that's the Warriors. I do think they're still contending. I mean, they're struggling. I know you don't believe in them. Clay, I do think he's going to be able to turn it around. Jordan Poole, I don't think he has to turn it around for them to do well. I think either one of Clay or Jordan Poole have to play as they did last year. I think Draymond's fine. I think he's doing well. Andrew Wiggins is fine. That's pulling together. They're just, I think the loss of Otto Porter and Gary Payton is huge in this. But they have to figure it out, and a lot of it is on the shoulders of Jonathan Kuminga, where he's taking up all those minutes, and he's got to figure out how to be that effective defender, just like Otto and Gary Payton were.
He was projected to be a good defender. He's projected to be a possible star in this league. So I don't think the responsibility should be too big for his shoulders. But if he can't make it happen, then they are going to fall off a lot. I think realistically, what they should do is still try to trade for a veteran who can help them out, because there's only one timeline, and it's Steph Curry's career. Yeah. And trying to compete beyond that makes no sense to me. I mean, he's going to not retire for at least another 5 years. Why are you trying to plan for after him?
No, yeah. I think the move this trade deadline would definitely be to take Wiseman and Moody and move them for an elite defender, which I think there's defenders out there that you can certainly get that for. I think on the Magic, Gary Harris. I think he's a great guy that they can go out and get, and I think the Magic would take Moses and Wiseman. Sure, the Magic they're killing it in development lately, so I'm sure they would love to take the second overall pick. And was Moses the 8th or the 13th? Moses, he was a lottery pick, and take 2 lottery picks and turn them around like that. So I have full confidence in them. Pelicans, we just talked about how great they were last week. I mean, they're best all-around team right now, firing on all cylinders. But out of all the contenders you said, I think this team individually are the most susceptible to falling off due to injury. Would you say so?
The Pelicans?
Yeah.
I mean, I think clearly with Zion, and Ingram's had his share of injuries in his career, McCollum. I think that one's pretty clear, but I mean, the Celtics, they haven't had Robert Williams all year. Really, if they lose either one of Tatum or Brown, their season is just toast. Yeah, and
they're very durable guys, both of them. Jalen and Tatum.
They're young.
They're young. So I have that. They're actually on second. I made a list, and they're second on my contender list. I mean, they're not skipping a beat. We thought with Ime Udoka gone, they're going to fall off. They didn't. MVP season from Tatum. Jalen having the best career. He's having a career year in points, assists, rebounds, free throw percentage, and field goal percentage. Nice. Guy's killing it. The addition of Brogdon is huge. Even though he's in a smaller role, it's huge. I think it's making huge impact with having that playmaker on the court. Guess what? Time Lord's projected to come back this month. So and they're already doing that well. So I mean, they've moved him to day. So this guy, they're projecting him to come back either this month or next month. So this guy, he's going to be back by the playoffs. Hopefully. So we'll see. We'll see how they do. And I think I still have the Bucks as the best contender in the league.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair.
Yeah,
so I don't got any arguments. I think it's been fun to see the ascension of these young teams. I was not a Grizzly believer last year. I'm more of a believer in them this year. So we'll see where that goes. But definitely. Yeah, man, I gotta get running here, so we'll wrap this one up. Strictly ball business for you folks out there, whoever you are. We appreciate you. This was episode 62. We'll be back for more, hopefully here soon. We wanted to do a longer episode, but I think, maybe we'll get in the TikTok game. Maybe we'll get in the Vimeo game. Nah, Vimeo's got to be dead by now, right?
Vimeo's dead.
Got to be dead by now. what are the kids on these days? Tell us where we gotta find you. Jeez. Jeez, do we gotta knock down some doors, get you to watch our YouTube? No, just kidding. Like and subscribe, of course, down below or up high.
Yeah.
Wherever.
And we'll see you guys in the new year. The new year, because we're gonna be off for like 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I don't know. Either way, we'll see you in January.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, guys. All right.
Yeah. Do you have to go like right now? Because
I gotta get. It's D&D night. I gotta get going.
Yeah, we missed 2 topics, but
yeah, I know.
All right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I just gotta go.
All right. Sounds good. I'll get them edited tomorrow. I just put like a temporary thumbs for the rest of the week because I see
I'll get those updated. Sorry. I got the day off Friday, so I should try to get them in tonight, but if I don't, it'll sure be by Friday.
Okay. Nope.
Sorry.
Nope. All good. All right, man.
All right. I'll catch you later.
Yep. See ya.
Thanks for watching. Shit. I didn't know that.